Hey there, my name is Jen. I am gardening in Northeast Colorado, Zone 5A. Haven't really seen a lot of people gardening out here, so just figured I would start shooting some information about growing out here. So this craziness is my entire front yard. My husband actually totally let me take it over with garden beds, and it has been so much fun since. So I have a total of 10 garden beds out front. First one, I have carrots in this one, which they've all gone to seed. This lettuce, my kids and I joke that it's rogue lettuce because it's completely volunteered. These right here are all radishes that have gone to seed. Just put up this cattle panel trellis, and I've planted some beans right along there. Throughout, there's some buckwheat as well, just for the pollinators. This right here is some Japanese giant red mustard that's gone to seed, and I've been getting a ton of seeds from it. Super excited to grow more of that. Here is some chamomile. It started off really small this year, and I can't wait to make tea from it. And then I've got more buckwheat there. That is some parsley that's gone to seed. And as you can see this side, I have also planted some beans to go up the cattle panel trellis. I think I have enough time, but you know, the worst that'll happen is it doesn't grow. And the best thing that'll happen is I'll get beans. And then over here, a bunch of brassicas. I have cabbage and broccoli. Clearly, I've had some pest problems, but they're actually doing a lot better. It was mostly flea beetles, but we will see how that goes. And then over here, I have a bunch of zucchini, mostly yellow zucchini. And then along here, I've planted a bunch of beans. I have a ton of tomatoes. I absolutely love tomatoes. These ones on the end are the green zebra tomatoes. Some really good color on those. And then over on this side, I've got some pumpkins. They are sugar pie pumpkins, I believe. And I do have one little guy that started growing. I have a bunch of different tomatoes down here though. They're all doing really well. They're getting big. Finally flowering. That guy right there is a Beet Alpha cucumber. Not sure that I'm gonna actually get anything from it, but we'll see. And then down here, I planted beans all along here, but I think that there's a rabbit that's been around that's been eating everything. But I do have some new sprouts. They're right here and here, and then there's a couple more. I think that I planted cucumbers. I don't remember though. And I've got chives and dahlias. I just kind of mix everything together. And over here, I've got peonies in here, and obviously one more I need to plant. Just kind of been really busy this summer though. And then behind me, got some peppers and more tomatoes, random irises that I meant to plant somewhere else, but I didn't, so this is now their home. And then down here, I've got these ones here. I've got that one, and that one, and that one. Those ones are all salt and pepper cucumbers. And then coming down here, and on the other side as well too, but they're just starting to come up, is some okra. And then this guy right here is actually a jalapeno, but I planted it and it looked like a twig, but I said, what's the worst that'll happen? So I've let it grow, and it's actually doing really well. It's even starting to flower, so that's fantastic. And this is some oregano. And this sunflower here, I am 99% sure it's a teddy bear sunflower because that's what I had there last year. Then I have a bunch of peppers. I've got some shishitos, some lipstick peppers, and also some that I can use to make paprika out of. And then I have fennel that is just out of control, mixed in with some dahlias and lots of other flowers actually hiding behind them. Then back here, I've got kale, which as you can see, the flea beetles have really gotten to it. I'm not too worried about it. I'm just gonna let it grow through the fall and see what it does. And then these snapdragons, they're all just there every year, so I just let them continue to grow. And then these are all just a bunch of beets. They're looking really good. Some of them I've already harvested when they were ready. I actually didn't plant any of these beets. They all just reseeded themselves from beets I had planted 2 years ago, so that was kind of awesome. And then I believe those are cabbages. And then this is one of my comfrey plants. It was the first one. It's been here for 2 years, and this is after I've trimmed it down a couple of times. And then coming back here, I've got a couple squashes that aren't very big, but they're flowering, so I'm just gonna let them do whatever the heck they want to do. That kale over there is one of the few kales that has not been attacked a lot by bugs, so it's doing well. Same with this one, and more irises. This year I ordered a bunch of irises from this place called Iris for You Garden. They're located just outside of Denver, and they have phenomenal irises, so I love supporting them, and I love just mixing stuff that's going to be throughout the whole season, because like those come up really early comparatively to, you know, like having tomatoes or whatever, so I like having pretty flowers in here. And then this guy coming down here, this is germander, and then behind it those are some Lucifer crocosmias, and then I have another iris right there. I planted a lot of dahlias. I did actually find a bunch of really good deals on dahlias because they had them at Costco, so why the heck not plant them? And then this guy, this is mini white cucumber. So as you can see, there's one. It'll probably be ready by tomorrow, I'm hoping. It's been really prolific. I've never actually grown them before, but like here's another one. And that guy will be ready probably tomorrow, but there's just so many flowers everywhere. And then right behind, more tomatoes. I think those are ivory egg tomatoes. They are awesome, but these things are huge. This one tomato right here is actually taller than me. And then more tomatoes. Like I said, I really like tomatoes, so I plant lots of them. Like if you look right down here, these are some really pretty tomatoes. They are Lucid Gem tomatoes. And I've so far gotten one, and it was absolutely delicious. Then I've got some borage next to that. Also more dahlias. I accidentally planted the borage on top of the dahlia, but they're doing just fine, so I'm letting them grow. More crocosmia, more parsley that's gone to seed. This is another one of the mini white cucumbers. Like I said, they're just crazy prolific. They're amazing, and they're super crunchy. So I will grow those again. And then over here, I've got another huge dahlia. Just some random flowers. And then over here, along with the grass, you can see I've got beans. I believe that these are the yard-long noodle beans. And then on the other side of this trellis, which I'll show you in a minute, I have the red noodle beans. But coming over here, these are my mini mouse melons or my cucamelons, and it's really tiny, but you can see that guy right there starting to form. Really excited about those. And then more tomatoes. Along here, you can see right up here, and then it's going crazy up here. I have that plant there, and then there's one right there. Those are my Armenian yard-long cucumbers. I have never grown them before. They are crazy right now, though. They're doing really good. I planted them just between my tomatoes. So, and then this here is my youngest son Jack's garden. He planted carrots last year, and they went to seed, and it's just kind of insanity. So I let him just leave it because it's good for the pollinators. And then over here, This sad little guy right there, I planted late because the tomato I had there originally had blight, which, I mean, that tomato there isn't looking too great, but I'm just leaving it. And then I've got more tomatoes over here. I actually just tied these up the other day and found all of these, and they look fantastic. And these right here are those red noodle beans. I've never grown them, so I'm really excited to see how they do. And then I have chives everywhere. I was actually originally given chives by my next door neighbor to my grandpa's house where I grew up at. Because her whole front yard is gardens as well. So she gave me some of that, and it's just done crazy. And then I've got these tomatoes right there. They're everywhere. I can't remember what variety they are, but I'm sure I'll remember later. They are a type of sun gold, but they're not just regular sun golds. They're really good though. So as you can see, I've got another iris in this bed. This is kind of where the rogue lettuce started. It's just kind of crazy right now. I just let it go to seed. I'm gonna go throw it to the chickens after it's done going to seed though. And then over here, these sunflowers, I believe are probably the Mongolian giants that probably self-seeded from last year. I did not plant any of my sunflowers, unfortunately, this year, but that's all right. And then I've got potatoes in here. They're fingerling potatoes. I'm really excited to eat them. Over here, some sort of zucchini that I planted that I don't remember what kind. And then these are blueberry tomatoes. There's lots of blossoms. There's also little tomatoes on there already. Right here as well, I've got a bunch of beans. And then over in this plot as well, I've got beans. So yeah, it's just kind of crazy out here. I'm gonna bring you over here and show you. This is a Lucid Gem tomato that's almost ripe. It's close. It still needs a little while, but I'll wait. So that is my front yard. Well, actually I have a couple more things. I've also got right here a bunch of daylilies. One of them was in the backyard. Just kind of decided to randomly make a bed for those here. So let's go into the backyard. So over here, I need to plant these guys, but these sweet potato vines, my husband actually brought me home 2 flats for our anniversary because I absolutely love them. And I would much rather have plants than flowers, although he did buy me gorgeous flowers too. All right, so these irises look really sad, but they are actually just fine. I am not worried at all. This rose and this rose, we got right around Mother's Day. We got those at Costco actually, and they've been kind of amazing. Lots of weeds in my yard, that's okay. And then these, so these are some tomatoes that I just didn't have room for, so they've kind of just been thrown into pots. I'm gonna see what I can do with them. I have a lot more in pots as well. Since my husband built a greenhouse, I'm gonna see how well we can extend the season out. And then this bed doesn't look like a whole lot right now, more of that rogue lettuce, but I've got strawberries and asparagus in here. A lot of the strawberries I just planted this year, so they're not really doing too crazy, and it's the same with some of the asparagus, but some of the asparagus is doing great, and I've been able to pick some of it. So here's one side of the greenhouse. It's mostly finished. I just really need to paint it. And then out there, the chickens, and there's a bunch of stuff out there because we are actually extending their run because they may or may not have had issues with chicken death. So this bed, this was part of my Mother's Day present. This rose is called Falling in Love. Got it at a local nursery. It's gorgeous. I mean, none of the buds have just opened, but it's really pretty. And then I've got a bunch of poppies. And then this guy right here is just trying to take over everything. That one is a Lady Godiva squash. I've never tried it before. I'm really excited to try it though because it does have holeless seeds. So we will see how that is. And then within here are tomatoes. There are Bonnie Best and Castello Genovese. There's poppies everywhere. There are dahlias everywhere. There's everything everywhere. There's zinnias. This is the first dahlia I've had to open this year. It's really pretty. As you can see though, that pumpkin is just rolling over the side. It's done absolutely phenomenal, so I can't wait to try some of those seeds. More poppies, more dahlias, and tomatoes, which is basically what makes up most of this. Got some salvia in there, more irises. Seriously, the irises are everywhere. And then these right here are going to be more of those tomatoes in pots. Figured why not give it a shot? The worst that'll happen is I won't get anything, but if I don't try, then what's the point? And here's another view of the greenhouse. Just have a couple more spots. So like we need to finish this spot and this spot, and we've got some shading. It's the same as what's on the roof. Should work out perfect. So these are my Zephyr squash. You can see them, there's lots of them in there. I like them. I think they're fun because they have the little green ends and they're really good to eat. Then I also have calendula everywhere. These are Thelma Sanders sweet potato squash. I've never grown them. They as well are just insane and going crazy. More poppies. Seriously, they're everywhere. This is a honeysuckle right here. It's like its second year. It bloomed earlier and it was really pretty. And then this, I have no clue what this is. I have this somewhere else. I can't remember what it is. For some reason I thought it was gooseberries, but I'm not so sure. So we will see. Then I've got dill that volunteered from, 3 years ago. Well, 2, I suppose. And then a bunch of beans. And I think those are dragon tongue bush beans. And then this is my little rock garden. So it's got stuff that doesn't mind the heat or that has volunteered. So this calendula has done perfectly fine. The sunflowers have done fine. I've got the sedum in here. Those moss roses volunteered from last year, but I've never actually had the sedum bloom before, so it is doing just fine. And then over this way, this is kind of a mess, but it is what it is. Another tomato that, went in a container. I've got some kale here that got eaten to heck. Got this pot, and then that pot right there, full of those. Some rosemary and a snapdragon that looks really sad. Then over here, I thought all of my peppers died out and I didn't have any luck with my starts, but this one right here is a violet sparkle pepper that I got from Baker Creek Seeds, so I'm gonna give it a shot. Another tomato. I did buy a green stalk this year. I got one for Mother's Day. This thing is crazy. It has done so well. So like I've got eggplants. This is a golden star pepper and it's already got peppers on it. It's looking fantastic. I decided to try trellising it a little bit. Just took some twine. And the cucumbers are already almost to the top of the pergola. There's lots of banana peppers in here because my kids really wanted me to grow some. There's nasturtiums, there's tomatoes, there's marigolds. This is a giant Hawaii marigold. And then I have this, I believe it's called Lilac Mist Petunia. I got that from a garden center down in Denver that I love going to. It's called Al's Pine Garden. Lots of stuff though, as you can see. Like here's a baby cucumber. And then lots of cucumbers are coming on. Lots of them. These on this side are Ancash Market cucumbers. But as you can see, they're doing just fine. So I really love my green stock. Can't wait to use it more in the fall. These were from Dollar Tree. As you can tell, it got really hot. It's been 100 more times than I can count this summer. So I just needed to water them more, and it was crazy busy this summer. And then these roses that are in with them, I actually got off Craigslist, all except for this one. This one is from last year. This one we bought, and it's really pretty. But the rest of them, somebody just didn't want them in their yard and said, hey, come dig them out. So we dug them out, and here we are 2 years later, and they are phenomenal. So they are doing just fine. Then down here, more of that parsley. It's either been eaten or gone to seed. And then some tricolor sage. And it smells so good. And then some Alaska nasturtiums that I think they're just getting too hot, which is fine. And then this is a Tiny Tim tomato. I mean, seriously, like, look how tiny that tomato is. But they're doing really well. I also have those in my green stock. And then this, so I had a huge surprise party for my husband. He turned 40. And some little kid decided to come and pick some of the tomatoes. Kind of made me sad, but it is what it is. I guess I've still got these guys, you know, and the others clearly have enough tomatoes. And then this, I've never found this before. This is actually, it's a variegated mint. It's pineapple mint. It's delicious. Like, I wish you could smell this. And then another little patio tomato. I just decided this year to grow in containers like crazy, because why not? All right. That is a pile of wood that, you know, need to get to, but it's fine. And then in here, this is that Thelma Louise, or not Thelma Louise, Thelma Sanders sweet potato squash. So they are definitely coming on, and I cannot wait to try them. I've never had them before, but they sounded really good. So I am taking you back up onto the back part of the lawn. This garden bed we decided to make a couple of years ago, and we've only been here 3 years. But most of this stuff is actually from Michigan, from my husband's grandparents' farm that they had. Except for, like, the lemon balm isn't. But everything was either brought home from there, or, like, this one was not, but I did bring home a bunch of them that were. I just really liked them, so I added more. And then there's these lilies. I just call them field lilies. I really liked them when we were out in Michigan, so I brought some home. And then this here, this little I love gardening sign, and this really cool little wind chime were from Michigan, and they were his grandma's. So I'm really happy that we were able to take those home. And this is one of those other plants that I said, you know, I thought was gooseberries, but I might be wrong. I have no idea what they are. So I'm just going to let it grow, and if I don't like it, I'll pull it. There's another one of those sedum. And then we have, this is a serviceberry tree. We just planted it last year. Not sure how well it's going to do, but I'm letting it try. And back here, these irises are amazing. I can't wait to make a video when they're blooming next year. But back here, this columbine right here, funny enough, since it's the state flower, just decided to randomly pop up and grow here. So I let it do its thing. So it's a bit of a wild mess. And the windmill, a really, really close friend of mine gave to me. I love that it's actually doesn't just look old. It is old, and it's not perfect. And I love that. There actually used to be one of my husband's grandfather's property in Michigan, and so he really, really liked that. So back here, I planted some tomatoes, because we're back to our... Whoops. Go ahead and just drop my phone, apparently. Let's start again, then. Okay. So back here, more of those tomatoes that, you know, I just kind of gave a shot to try and grow, and I do actually have one back here. Got this guy right here, and let's see, I didn't leave a tag with it, so I don't remember what kind it is. But back here are actually a bunch of irises. This bed is new this year to us, and then if I need more mulch, I have a little bit more mulch. We actually ended up getting about, I think, 15 to 20 cubic yards of mulch. So I've filled everywhere with mulch. Like these beds, this one and the next one I will show you, we ended up putting down cardboard and filling the whole entire thing up with mulch. And this mulch has already been aged for about 3 years. So it is good and broken down. I'm not worried about it leaching nitrogen or anything. But all of the irises that are back here are actually from my husband's great aunt's backyard. She has always been really well known for all of her irises, and it was really neat that we were able to get some this year. So hopefully we will get them to bloom next year. But like I said, lots of tomatoes. Bane of my existence being bindweed. So that's a little crazy. And then back here's my compost. And I've got some really good looking compost tomatoes. They are going nuts. Then over here is going to be more of those irises from his great aunts. And then these are another rose that I bought this year. They're so beautiful. And then over here, this one, it just cracks me up. This one is called a ketchup and mustard rose. I really wish there was a better name because it just sounds ridiculous, but they're gorgeous. These two roses we just planted probably a month and a half ago, so they look really, really good. And then over here, this tree, it is probably, I want to say probably about 7.5, 8 feet tall. It volunteered in our front yard and we just let it live. So now it's in our backyard and we like it so very much. So that ends this, and I guess I should have said the date. It is July 27th, 2021. Hope you guys like this. Let me know if any of you guys know what the heck that one plant was that I thought was a berry but isn't. Thanks so much for joining my garden tour. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and like seeing what's growing in Colorado. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day.